Alright, live problem solving. We'll do an easy LeetCode problem, merge two sorted lists. Let's have a read. Here given the heads of two sorted lists, list 1 and list 2, merge the two lists in one sorted list. This should be made by splicing together the nodes of the first two lists. Okay, return the head of the merged list. Alright, so these are the two lists, 1, 2, 4 and 1, 3, 4. These are sorted and the final result is 1, 1 and then 2, 3. So basically we have to return a sorted list. Merged list in one sorted list. This should be made by splicing together the nodes of the first two lists. So we don't have to copy the nodes. We just have to copy the pointers to another list. Also, I think we just changed the pointers. So what we gotta do is we gotta adjust the pointers of the. So the nodes remain the same. We just adjust their pointers and return the head. Is what the task is. Let's look at another example. Okay, both are empty. And result is empty. If one list is empty, there is zero. Result is zero. Fair enough. So that's the problem. Let's give more space for the coding bit. So what can we do? We start from the heads of both the lists and we compare the two, and based on whichever is smaller, we'll make it the next or something like that, right? And another thing that we need to note is if we are swapping or changing the pointers, we need the previous guy as well, because we'll be changing previous next. So okay, let's try. We will go till either of the list is not empty. So neither of the lists are empty. We do want to see who will be the head, right? So let's go for the head first. So if all right, let's make it simpler. Let's call it and do it null. Let's just check one guy. Okay, simple. If both are null, we just return null. That means now both are not null. Okay, so these are the edge cases. If right, so we handle that. After that, what do we do? Now, at the end of this Okay, we need one more check to see. So we take the smaller one or list one, right, as we had, which is also fine. All right, in this case, what it did was it took the second one. So in that case, let's match it. Both or one will take list two. Okay, so now first we compare the two items and see which one is smaller. So firstly, if basically if yeah, both have to be non-null. If any of them becomes null, that means we can just return the head. We are done. Uh, right. So we come here now. Both of them are non-null. We know that for sure. And now what we're doing is we will compare uh, the current node. Okay, the problem that is okay. Let's see what the problem is. The problem is interesting, because we're not creating a third list. Uh, we need to know the list we need to maintain, the list we will continue with, and that has to be the first list, the list that we choose, right? So then we'll swap. Okay. So let's consider list one is what we'll return, and if this happens, okay, for equal to case as well is doing so. We don't care about equal to, fine. If this is happens, then we swap the lists. So okay, we always consider, and our so basically what we're saying is head will always be list one, and we'll always merge list two into list one, not the other way around. Okay, so we're looking at list one now, and we know this is definitely the smaller. So we need to consider two guys, right? We need to consider this with list 2 and list 1 next. So there are two options. One is null, or is agar if it's bigger, then we have a problem. In both these cases, we have to change list 1's next to list 2, right? So how do we do that? Uh, should we just create a third list is what I'm feeling now. Or we have to splice. If you have to splice and okay, so we are at this node, and we are comparing one with two, and two is smaller than. Oh, the list keeps changing. Yeah, interesting. Then okay, so either we do this, or in the other case, it's not null. That means it still exists, and also this has to continue. Then we simply do. Okay, then we don't do anything. So let's go here. Let's remove this and then do list 1 equals to list 1 dot next. Right? If we need to change, we change. If we don't need to change, then we don't change. And yeah, and finally we return head. Let's first run it for a sample test case. It is passing. Let's run for all example test cases. Come on, man, just run. It did pass for all as well. And okay, before submitting, let's see if we can optimize it further. Just make the code a bit simpler, maybe. So we basically decided that list 1 will be the head, and list 1 will be the one with the smaller, which is where we ensured here. Uh, right, and so think this is fine, this is fine. Now, whether these are needed or not is the question. I think all is good. Just submit. Okay, we got a wrong answer. Found cycle in the list node. Interesting. So let's take this input. So basically, single node will come here. Some of them will be null. Uh, one dot next will be null. So we will be making one dot next. Yeah. So we'll be making one behind a two. Temp is equals to null. List one dot next will be two. List two will be null. And then list one will also become null. Both will be null. I think it should be fine, no? Uh, okay, let's do it again. Let's come here. Is list one greater than list two? Yes. So we swap. Maybe there is a mistake in the swapping. Temp is equals to list one. List two is equals to list one. So okay. So here temp equals to two. List two equals to two, and list one equals to, yeah, there is some problem. What the? So we swapped incorrectly. List one becomes list two, and list two becomes temp. So two equals to. So in temp we say one. List one equals to one. List two equals to. Okay, fine. I think this is fine. Let's submit again, and it worked. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Mm, let's look at other people's submissions. Maybe have people done it similar fashion or what? Easy solution with Java. It's taking some array and some other nonsense. It is some sort of swapping still, but okay. I don't like creating array creating list. I think ours is much simpler. Okay. Alrighty, just to go over the code again. Basically, what we do is we figure out which is a smaller list, and that is our target list. This is what we will return, and we'll ensure that everything gets merged into this list. At least the first node is the smaller one, and then we keep through the list. Basically, at every point we have to check two things. One is the next guy, and one is the other list, right? One is the next guy in the same list, and other is the other list, and we compare the two. And whichever is smaller, we take that. If the other list is smaller, then we need to basically make list.next as the other list, and then again do the swapping of because basically in this scenario these are two, right? So let's say we start with this one, and then between these two, this is the smaller. So we have to change once next to this guy. So now this will become the other list, and first list will be 1134, another list will be 24. And so that is what this guy is doing. And if everything is fine, then we just move forward and compare the next guy and so on. All right.